Many people speak. Most people speak. They speak all different kinds of languages. They live all over the world. There are voices that are happy, and there are voices that are sad, and there are voices that are somewhere in between. All of these different voices always speaking differently depending on who the voice belongs to and how that person happens to be rolling with life's unceasing combo of punches, kicks, and flying knees. So there are all these different voices and all these different ways that said voices speak. But what about a voice that optimizes your chances of not making your life any worse or any more difficult than it needs to be? For me, this is as worthwhile a question to ask as any I can possibly think of, but I also think the question runs the risk of coming across as so fundamental that its true significance gets lost in translation. I teach a reading and writing intensive undergraduate course at Johns Hopkins, and as often as I can, I try to communicate this idea to my students, that their voices are musical tools. I basically try convincing them to develop a reading and writing habit outside of class, because I think the value, if such a thing can even be said, the value of creating and maintaining a reading habit is that the act of reading trains our subconscious towards some end where we're more capable of employing our voice. And that's a big deal, which I'm going to talk about soon. But the point I'm trying to make right now is this: our voice is the most important tool we have at our disposal. Each person's voice is at least as valuable as their hands, which may be a ridiculous point to make, but people manipulate the world with their hands all the time. They open doors with their hands and they close doors with their hands. And people also manipulate the world with their voices. They open abstracted doors with their voices. They open abstract doors while on first dates with their voices. They close abstracted doors in job interviews with their voices. So that's my case for our voices being our most powerful tool. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but maybe I am. If nothing else, hopefully this is interesting. But I also want to talk about finding answers to the question I posed earlier. Is there some way you can use your voice that will optimize your chances of not making your life any worse or any more difficult than it has to be? And that's the question I'm asking, because what am I supposed to tell you in this situation? At the time of this video's recording, traffic to the channel is small. We are a little rock that is uncomfortable and cold and soaring through the empty vacuum of space. My point in saying that is this: I'm not sure who you are, I'm not sure what you want to hear or what's going on, but I'm trying to figure out what I might be able to do to say something that can help. But because I don't know who you are, I can't exactly give you specific life advice. But what I can do is talk about some of the extremely valuable insights I found while scouring the internet in my lonely pursuit to understand how to not just have a voice. That's a saying that people love to throw around, how to have a voice, but how to use your voice. All right, so what did I do to find answers? I went to Google and I screamed, how to have good voice. And then boom, schoolofrock.com gave me 7 tips on how to keep my singing voice healthy, which is not what I needed. So then I say to myself, okay, I'll try again. I reflect on the question I posed, how to have good voice. Then I add speaking to the end. And here's what I found: 6 tips or 10 steps or 12 ways to improve your speaking voice. I come to find out that there's plenty of stuff written about becoming a better speaker, thousands of Google pages worth of information, an impossible amount of information. And so I thought, maybe I can add to this impossible amount of information. Maybe I can make a video about it. It's just what the world needs. Another thing to be said on the subject of people talking. What could possibly be better than that? Because look at these lists. There's everything here that anyone could possibly need to find. It's all been said before. Slow down, speak up, voice exercises, record phone conversations, deep breathing, pitch variation, voice coach, don't forget to smile, take a singing or acting class. This isn't me talking. These are the experts. And the experts are great at putting things in carefully cut boxes, which isn't to say that they are wrong necessarily, just that these answers always tend to strike me as dull. And I think there's a conversation to be had about the capacity of the human voice to manipulate the physical world. That's something I talked about earlier in the video. And I think it's probably such an obvious idea that it almost can't be said aloud without some wincing, let alone listed as another step or way 6 out of 10 on some list or whatever. I'm saying that the human voice is a cross between like a shovel and a musical instrument, or maybe a hammer. I don't mean to rip on any of the sources. I'm sure they're great, but my hope is that by spending a little bit of time trying to animate the utility of something as mundane as your own voice, I might be able to help you actually follow through on it. So here I am casting my line once again into the soupy and silent darkness of existence. So understand this, if you think of your voice as something that's more or less a musical instrument, I think that not only is the improvement process in its most general and universal sense made more accessible, but using your voice to a self-developing and self-benefiting end becomes easier. Because here's the way I see it. I think one of the most fundamentally important skills a person has is their ability to communicate a story. School might not teach people that, but it doesn't change the extent to which humans rely on storytelling every day. I've talked about this in plenty of other videos, but the overview is this. Generally speaking, how do we tell a story? We use our voice, because storytelling isn't just trying to write a novel or whatever other creative activity that might come to mind when you heard the word. We also do it with other things, mannerisms, posture, how we dress, how our bedroom looks, etc. But all that is for another video. Storytelling happens anytime we communicate with another person. It's a skill we rely on almost all the time in any social environment or any professional environment or academic environment. Anytime we interact with another person, we're telling a story. Although obviously to varying degrees, some stories land better than others. Some stories we prepare more than others. And what I tell my students is this: find voices you enjoy listening to, voices that communicate stories that captivate your attention. Maybe even find great works of literature to read, be they poetry or fiction or whatever. The idea is to curate a diet of unique voices. Listen to comedians who have a distinct personal style that you enjoy and blast their words into your skull if you so choose. Find a poet or a novelist or an essayist or a YouTuber whose writing style and or voice you like. And once you've picked a few, spend some time understanding why you like them. Try to understand the speaking patterns of their voices. Why are they good storytellers? What do they do well? Are they yellers? Are they joke tellers? How do they do what they do? How do they hold your attention? And the conclusion that I've arrived at after all of this is basically that we can make ourselves better storytellers, which I also think of as being synonymous with better communicators or socializers, whatever. We can make ourselves better storytellers by studying the voices of artists whose work we admire. So what do? Maybe you listen to a comedian's podcast, maybe you watch videos featuring clips of comedians talking, maybe it isn't even comedians. Maybe when you read books or when you watch TV shows or when you listen to music, you can't help but emulate some iteration of the artist's storytelling abilities. The point is, find voices you like listening to and consider why it is that you like them. And once you do that, you can just hang out and wait to die. Thank you for watching. Thank you, video editor Joey, for editing. Smash like, slap sub, leave a nice comment in comment section down below. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.